Hey guys, Triple B here. We've got heaps of new cards being revealed from the upcoming set Paradise Dragona, so let's not waste any time and just get right into them. The first ones we're going to talk about are the Trap-Inch line. So it's a basic with 60 HP, meaning you can get it out of your deck with Buddy Poffin. Has the Call for Friends attack, so you can search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and get them onto your bench to help establish your board. Stage 1 for it being Brava, having 90 HP, nothing too special about that. Level Ball's not in rotation at the moment. Its attack Screech, costing a colorless energy, and during your next turn, the defending Pokemon is going to do 50 more damage from this Pokemon's attack. So if you want to use Cutter Wind, you can do 100 into it. It's not too bad, but I feel like you're likely just going to be using Rare Candy to get past in this and into Flygon EX. So Flygon being a stage 2, we've got Rare Candy for it. It is a Terra-type Pokemon, so it's going to be protected when it's on the bench, has 310 HP, and is a fighting type. Its attacks are pretty interesting. The first one being Storm Bug, costing just 1 fighting energy, does 130 damage, and you have the option to switch this Pokemon with one on your bench. So you could go into something that can wall, like Mimikyu being invincible into V and EX Pokemon, and then maybe combo this with Latias EX we've seen revealed already, that gives your basic Pokemon free retreat, pivot back into the Flygon, and just kind of keep that going as a loop, making it really annoying for your opponent to deal with. Its second attack though, Sonic, does 100 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon EX and V in play, so a pretty solid spread damage, and can set up nice knockouts for Stormbug to either finish off, or it'll have that chip damage from that and you finish him off with this attack instead. We're also getting a new Duraladon in the set. Basic Pokemon, 130 HP on it, so yeah, you're not getting this out with Buddy Poffin, unfortunately. Going to be having to use Nest Ball for this. Its attacks are just kind of there. It does 50 damage for 2 steel energy, and the second one's going to do 130 damage for 3 steel energy, and you have to discard 2 energy from this Pokemon after you use that. Discarding energy though isn't actually that bad for Duraladon to be doing, since its evolution Archaludon EX being the first EX card we're seeing of this. We have seen a single barrage version that's going to give your steel Pokemon free retreat, and now you have an EX version for it as well. The ability on here makes it so when you play this card from your hand to evolve up, you can attach 2 basic steel energy cards from your discard pile to your steel Pokemon in any way that you'd like. Its attack costing 3 steel energy means you can be charging itself up and then just attaching 1 energy per turn to start doing 220 damage. Yeah, not bad. And during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon doesn't even have any weakness. So into fire decks, you're not going to be taking double damage unless they like gust you to the bench and then gust you back to the active, or bounce you to the bench and then gust you to the active, like Iron Bundle and then Boss, or Prime Catcher Boss. So yeah, kind of interesting. I don't think they're going to do that though. It's a pretty big commitment, but definitely something they could do to get around you. Having 300 HP on a stage 1 is pretty impressive, and the fact that it's a steel Pokemon, you could be using Full Metal Lab, making you take 30 less damage from attacks. So effectively 330 HP if they're going for a 1-shot, or 360 for 2 shots. It's a stage 1, so you can be combining this with Rigid Band to take a further 30 less damage from attack. So 60 less, and you've got 300 HP, and you can charge yourself up. Yeah, I'm keen for this card. Also, the fact that you can be tanking all those hits, then using Professor Turo's Scenario to just scoop it up. You re-evolve another Duraladon into the Duraladon EX that you just picked up, effectively healing it, and the energy that's gone to the discard pile is then just charged back up to it. You just have 1 energy in hand to attach. Yeah, keen for this deck. You're not going to be doing massive numbers, but the fact that you can be tanking hits, I think that it's going to find a spot in the meta, and definitely keen for it. I was a big Duraladon VMAX player back in the day, so the fact that it's getting a new card, well, kind of getting a new card. It's not Duraladon anymore, but it's effectively the same thing. Even hits 220 damage still, so yeah, no, definitely keen for it. We're getting a Rufflet Braviary. The Rufflet does 30 damage for 2 colorless energy. You technically could charge it up with DTE to do 10 if you wanted to. And the Braviary also having a double colorless attack, drag out, switch in your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active, and do 40 damage to the new active. So with DTE does 20. So not great. The second attack doing 120 damage for 3 colorless energy. I feel like these are cards that will be slotted into decks in pre-release because they have colorless energy in their attack cost, but with Paradise Dragona, I think that it's going to be a promo set, so we probably aren't even having a pre-release. Yeah, I think these are bulk. They are getting a new Gimmick Ghoul and Goldo. So the Gimmick Ghoul has the attack A Little Errand. You get to search your deck for 2 basic energy and put them into your hand. The Goldo EX we have discards energy from hand to do pretty big numbers, so the fact that Gimmick Ghoul can be searching that energy from your deck, getting into your hand, and then you're using Earthen Vessel to get more energy out. I think this is a great pre-evolution for that. The Goldo we're getting though, kind of giving you like a single prize attacking option for that deck, I suppose. Rich Strike's going to do 30 damage as a base, but if you evolve from Gimmick Ghoul this turn, you do 90 more damage. So bringing it up to 120. If you're hitting weakness, 240. It's like into Chin Pow, I guess you can just be doing a 1 energy attachment, not getting a 2-prizer on the board to get easy knockouts. There might be other matchups where that math comes up as well. Interesting card to have. I'm not sure it'll be like a standard staple. Not that Goldo EX is currently meta, but like if you wanted to run that deck, I don't know if I'd include this in there, but love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Getting a new Smoochum, so it's a baby Pokemon, sticking kind of to the trend of having 30 HP, having a free attack, and having free retreat. The attack on here, Happy Kiss, lets you search your deck for 2 basic Psychic Energy and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way that you'd like, then you shuffle your deck. So it's kind of just like another option to accelerate energy for Psychic decks. We've already got Xatu that accelerates from hand to the bench and draws you some cards. We've got Gardevoir that accelerates from the discard and damages your guys. And then we have this to just kind of like, hey, first turn of the game, if you're going second, you can start getting some energy out. I feel like you'd still probably just want to go for like Evolution TM, get Xatu's online or get Kirlia's online and then evolve them into Gardevoirs on this next turn. But Smoochum does give you another option to play around with, so maybe even just as a one-off copy, so like if you're in a pinch, it's like, well, I can do this. It's not a bad call, and I'd definitely be keen to see if this does show up in some decks. We have seen other baby Pokemon show up, so it wouldn't surprise me if it does, but I feel like it's also just one of those things that like in a pre-release format, if we get one for this set, it could be strong, but in standard, I'm not too sure how much it'll get played, to be honest. New supporter card coming out in the set, Surfer. So you get to switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and if you do, draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. I like it. Like, honestly, the fact that we're getting more of these utility type supporter cards that do 2 effects, it's really good for the game. It makes for some very interesting deck building, especially since there are decks that want to be pivoting around, like Palafin EX. It can't attack 2 turns in a row, so it's like, well, you can use this, switch it to the bench into a free retreater, and then bounce that out. Not too bad. Iron Valiant EX, you want to be moving around as many Iron Valiants as possible to get as many damage counters out. So this gives another option for that while refilling your hand. So it's like play all your switches, then play this, refill your hand, get into more stuff, keep doing things. Good. And like maybe even Lost Box plays this for a bit. Like they'll be in rotation together for anywhere from 3 to 6 months, I think. So I could see this being slotted in there as like a 1 or 2 copies. Since you want lots of switches to proc your Comfies, it's effectively just another switch card for you. And like if you don't want to be using Colress because your opponent has revealed Kyurem, it's like, well, I have this. So I'm just going to focus on using my Comfies and my Lost Vacuums and Surfer now. We're seeing an interesting reprint as well. So Counter Gain is coming back. We had this back in the Lost Thunder in the Sun and Moon era. So if you've been playing since then, go and dig these out of your rotatos, or your rotated cards, your expanded stuff, your Gym Leader Challenge carton, box, I don't know, your bin of cards that don't currently see play. Well, this one's coming back. So Counter Gain, if you have more prizes remaining than your opponent, the attacks of Pokemon this is attached to are 1 colorless energy less. So it's just another one of those like comeback cards. We saw Counter Catcher get a reprint recently and it's become a standard staple, and Counter Gain, I could definitely see this coming up in some decks. There are a lot of decks currently that have like a little bit of colorless energy and attack costs, so could be relevant. Even something like Radiant Charizard or Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, where their attack cost gets reduced by 1 colorless energy for each prize your opponent's taken. Well, if your opponent takes 2 prizes, knock off 2, and then you attach Counter Gain onto them, knock off 1 more. Like, it could be getting you out those attackers 1 turn earlier and could make a difference in some matches. I'm not sure if it's going to be justified for the deck space, but definitely one that's kind of worth testing. Like there would be situations where it comes up, and it's a tool card, so you can target this with Arven. It's like get into Counter Gain, get into Counter Catcher, bring something up into the active, you can get an easy KO on and reduce the attack cost. Like, I like it. I'm keen to see what people develop with this, but not 100% sure it'll be a staple right away. Helper Bell, on the other hand, though, this card I could see seeing a lot of play, and as soon as it's released. So you can only use this card if you go second and only on the first turn. A little bit limited, but that does mean that like later in the game it just becomes Ultra Ball fodder, or it becomes superior energy retrieval fodder. We had Battle VIP Pass that was like, hey, you only use it on the first turn of the game, and then mid game it was just like, well, I don't really want to discard anything from my hand. Oh wait, I have that, discard that, that's easy. That's it's going to fill that same role. But you get to search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So it's effectively Luminion V without having to bench a 2 prize Pokemon that your opponent can easily gust and KO middle of the game or end of the game. Like, you don't have a liability, effectively, is what I'm saying. Sorry, bit of a roundabout thing. But yeah, it seems like a solid card. I'm not sure if you'd want to run it as like a 4 of count in decks, but like 1 or 2 if you have a little bit of deck space, I could definitely see. It's like Pokegear's seeing play. I could see this. If you're already running 4 counts of Pokegear, then yeah, maybe 4 counts of Helper Bell instead. Just be like, hey, first turn of the game, I need to make sure that I'm finding my supporter. You can have this, but yeah, Pokegear being that mid-game, it still has potential. It has the option to miss. Helper Bell doesn't, but it has the option to be used throughout the game. So there's merits to both. I'm definitely leaning towards Helper Bell is worth testing and could become a staple, though, especially in specific decks. A new ACE SPEC getting revealed as well, so we're seeing Megaton Blower. You discard all Pokemon tools and special energy that are attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon, and you discard any stadiums that are in play. So it's kind of just like, hey, get rid of everything on the board, but just on your half of the board. It's kind of dirty. We used to have Field Blower, which was similar to this, but you got to pick 2 in any combination of Pokemon tools or stadium in play, right? Because it'd be like, well, you could get rid of 2 tools or a tool and a stadium and just like get rid of them. This is just a bigger fan, and it's getting rid of everything and getting energy at the same time. So it's going to get rid of Bravery Charms, it's going to get rid of Ancient Boost Capsules. Your opponent's trying to like keep knockouts just out of range for you. You got, no, get all that off the board. Maybe if they are running like Experience Share or Future Boost Capsule, just get rid of them. Kind of dirty. And the special energy bit on there too, like into Lugia, you show this, I feel like they just go, all right, game 2. If they've overcommitted energy, like set up a Lugia, set up a secondary attacker and just go get rid of all that. Yeah, they just go game 2. They'll learn to play around that. They'll be like, well, I'll be more conservative this time, but it can be that kind of like linchpin play where it's just, hey, I have this, I win. And yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to be strong enough though to replace the likes of like Prime Catcher though, right? Prime Catcher is just one of those cards that situationally it's always good, whereas Megaton Blower is situational. Like if your opponent's not playing any tools or special energy, it's like, well, it's in my deck. It's not doing anything in this matchup, but in other ones it would be really good. So it's just one of those things. Do you want a card that 50% of the time it's going to be amazing and half the time it's dead? Or do you want something that's just like, I will always play this. Like this card is always going to see play each match. That's kind of the decision you have to make. So like if you're seeing a lot of Lugia in your local meta, Megaton Blower seems like an instant include. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the new card reveals. We did see some stuff coming out of Pokemon Pocket, so if you guys want a quick peek at that, it looks all right. Like I'm kind of keen to try this game out because it seems like a bit faster than the current TCG, but also slower at the same time. Like you don't have abilities or anything like that. Like they're pretty dumbed down cards just doing flat damage. Like Otis does 20 for a grass, Squirtle does 20 for a water, Clefairy does 20 for a psychic. Like it kind of just seems like pick your color, they do flat number. So I'm keen to see where this game goes. I do like having alternative ways to play the TCG. As you guys know, if you've been around the channel, we have the budget build format where I try and get cards that don't see play in the standard format a little bit of time in the light. So if you want to check that out, there'll be a video popping up on the screen right now. And we have tournaments on Limitless every Friday, and we are going to be starting a North American version as well. That'll be Saturday afternoon for me and Friday night if you're in North America. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the new card reveals, and are you keen for Pokemon Pocket? But till next time, stay golden, you Goombas.